Hey everyone, I'm going to give this a minute to get propagated out and make sure that everything is cool on the tube. Sounds like you guys are all chatting away in the chat, which is great. I was looking at some of the messages and saw everyone that was here, and I'm really excited. I hope you guys are really excited. This program is something very near and dear to my heart, and I've been working on this stream for several days, so hopefully this goes well. Give it a couple minutes to get all put together, and then we're going to be off to the races. All right. There we go. Cool. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here, everyone. My name is David Grimes, and I am a penman and a calligrapher from Oregon, and I teach an online class called Dreaming in Script, and once a year, for this is now the second year, we get everyone together and we perform this graduation ceremony, which allows us to take some of the people who've participated in the program over the course of the last year, or in this unique case, the last several years, and celebrate them, some of the work that they've done. And yeah, it's a really cool thing. This is my first time streaming with this kind of setup, so I'm going to try my hardest not to fumble, but if it seems like I'm moving particularly slow, it's only because I'm trying to follow all of the rules that I have written down for everything so that I don't make an embarrassing mistake. The last couple of years have been really hard for a lot of people. There has been a lot of loss and frustration, and I think for those of you in the audience that are calligraphers or penmen, you'll know that this art form is uniquely sensitive to the emotions of the practitioners, and it's been a hard couple of years to be a calligrapher, to be a penman, and there are those who took this time to work really hard and to practice and to refine and to make friends, and I just wanted to make sure that we had a night to celebrate all of their effort and make sure that the people that have sustained my inspiration over the duration of this pandemic realize how special they are and how important they are, not only to my online programs, but to the community, to the calligraphy community at large. So without being too wordy, I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. We have a special guest speaker, as any commencement ceremony should have. This is one of my earliest mentors, and I would say I consider him a friend and a colleague, and many of you are familiar with his work. So without further ado, I will introduce Dr. Joseph Vitolo, author of Script in the Copperplate Style and American Penmanship historian.
Say when, David. Are we ready to go? Yeah. Well, welcome everyone, and great congratulations. I'm very happy to be here. It's a real great journey you've been on. I remember when David first told me about his idea of doing sort of a school of penmanship that reflected the work of the penmen of old in the United States. I thought it was a great idea. I wish I could have done something like that, but my career took a little different path. But I was very impressed by it, and it's amazing because in the end, the mark of any teacher is the product or the student that they produce. And I was telling David the other night, I can usually spot right away people that have studied with him. There's a certain knowledge about the form of script, and you can see it right away. It doesn't mean other forms aren't good or nice. It's just that this is a very specific lineage. And I think most of you know the Zenarian Manual and the people that period of time produced, like Earl Lupfer, Parker Zahner Bloser, C.P. Zahner, Elmer Ward Bloser. And this is the historical lineage that all of this stuff sort of you continue on doing what you're doing. So I think it's a great idea. And again, the historical perspective can't be overlooked. It doesn't negate other forms or in other countries. What it does is it just makes sure that people are aware of the contributions of folks in this country and Canada that did a lot to promote and promote this art form. One of the things I just like to always say whenever I'm talking about penmanship is sometimes people refer to calligraphy as a craft, and while there is craft involved in it, I insist on calling it an art form. Those of us who study at a certain level, we could discuss one single letter form for an hour, and some people might think we're a little cuckoo for doing that. But the reality is, I can find art in a single letter form, and if you've read any of my articles, I can get somewhat carried away with the evaluation and scientific breakdown of how I think a letter should be formed. And that was just to help me. I know sometimes people are intimidated by script in the copperplate style or engrosser script or roundhand, whatever you want. There are differences, and I'm sure you guys know that by now. But the reality is you're not born doing this. And hopefully by now you guys have seen that this can be learned. Yes, there are folks with natural ability to do to be artistic. I've got some of that, but for me it was a really disciplined approach to study. And and as I've always said, and I said this to David the other night, sometimes people think script is perfect. Perfection, as I always say, is a journey. It's not a destination. I've never written anything I thought was perfect. Maybe I'm being overly hard on myself, but the reality is you've got to strive for something. And I think you guys have had a good insight how to do that. The other thing you get from this kind of study is now you have some discernment of what good script should look like. It doesn't mean you're going to condemn anybody that doesn't look like that, but it does mean that you understand, if you put I always said, if I put my sheet on a table next to Lupfer's, do I think it belongs there? And for the most part of my journey, I would say no. But there are people who do incredible work like David, and I'm sure some of his students too that I've seen. And that's just the mark I've always gone by. And so I think you have an understanding now going through this process, this discipline process of what high grade script looks like. Does it mean you have to only do that? No. But it's how you get, there's an approach to getting there, an understanding of letter forms. And I love a saying that was in a book called Zen in the Art of Archery by Eugen Herrigel. And they were talking about a Japanese writing master. And the master made the comment that the brush should form the letter at the moment the mind's eye conceives it, no hesitation. And that's what you get from really, really disciplined practice. When I was at whatever best I was at, I didn't have to think about the letter. If I thought about the letter forms, I was in trouble, especially with something like a capital D. It still haunts me to this day. But I had to just execute it. And I picked that up also from John DeCalabis, just no hesitation, go for it. And I think the other thing I'd like to leave you with is that, pass on at some point what you've learned. One of the mottos I should have lived by is, pay it forward. And so it doesn't mean you have to give it away. It just means that, be kind of generous with your knowledge. The first time I encountered a really high level penman was John DeCalabis, and he was more than willing to sit down with this novice who didn't even know how to ink the pen and teach me some stuff and tell me how to ink the pen and what I had to do correctly. So congratulations again. I'm very proud to be here. I look forward to seeing some of the work and interacting with you guys in the future. Thank you. Thank you, David. Appreciate this.
Hopefully I did that correctly. Thank you so much, Joe, for your help with that. I think it's one thing to take a course with an individual and hear what they think about a script for an extended period of time. It's another thing entirely to take what they think and go out into the world and investigate and question that. And Joe is someone who I always felt that I could bounce ideas off of, even if we didn't always agree on the same things that we wanted to do with our script. I've always found a certain kinship in him when it comes to exploring the questions that I wanted to ask. So thank you so much, Joe, for being here and for addressing the graduates. It's a really big honor for me to be able to have you as my first guest speaker for the Dreaming in Script commencement exercises. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and move you guys over to the top-down view, and we're going to get started taking a look at some of the students that we're honoring tonight. All right, I realize that my microphone was muted there. So hopefully I'm gonna reiterate myself for just a second, and my hand's gonna look like it's doing what I just did. Just got a text from one of my friends. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm gonna do this ceremony very similar to the way that we've done it in the past, and that is I will be showing you some certificates from some of the students. But at Dreaming in Script, we have two different types of graduates. We have the Certificate of Completion graduates, and then we have the Certificate of Merit graduates. We're going to do the Certificate of Completion first, because the way this process works is that the Certificate of Completion students, they finished the program that they studied, they scored in the 90th percentile on the final quiz, and then they submitted an exemplar of the script style that they learned. And then I issued them a certificate that was pre-signed and sealed by myself. And it has some blank spots where they can fill out their name, their course of study, and some other information. But because the way that works, I don't actually have that certificate here in person, so I can't show it to you. So instead, I am going to read off their names, and hopefully I'm not going to mispronounce anyone's name. But it is really important for me to call attention to the fact that some people that pursue this versus the other version that we'll see tonight, which is known as Certificate of Merit, they made this decision for pragmatic reasons. It wasn't necessarily because they couldn't do the Certificate of Merit or anything like that. There's a lot of logistical complication to the Certificate of Merit process. And so I do want to make sure that these students are honored. And here we go. All right, so from the class of 2018 in the Engrosser Script program, we have Carolina Rodriguez, Deborah Ignatowski, Jenny Tran, Maria Imran, Maria Jesus Diaz Acosta, Mariska Adriani, and Nur Shuhada. Woo! Great job, everyone. From the class of 2020, we have Christine Chung, Yi Hisin Yap, or Mia, as she introduced herself to us, Monica Gala, Peter Gyang, and Veronica Silvia Rosso. Great job. Those are Engrosso Script students. From the 2021 Engrosso Script program, we have Daniel Jian, Heather McGowan, Jennifer Hopkins, Margaret Hoffel, Y.C. Gurdus, Preeti Rishamia, and Devyani Mohanty. Great job, Dreamers. And from the 2021 French Roundhand program, we have Devyani Mohanty again with a second Certificate of Merit. We have Cosmis Adrian, Edmund DeLacy, Kim Pugh, and Yoli Rincon. I just want to stress how much how cool this process is for me. Some of these students have been students of mine since 2018, as you can see on the screen there, and that's a long time to be studying Engrosso Script. I think anyone inside of Dreaming in Script can attest to the fact that this script is very taxing. Engrosso Script is very taxing, and it does take a long time to get to a certain level of competency and to pursue proficiency, and I'm just so proud of everyone that has worked so hard to be where we are. It's really, really great. Okay, back to the desktop. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now we're going to begin taking a look at the Certificate of Merit graduates. So the merit graduates went one extra step. They finished in the 95th percentile on their final quiz. They submitted a full exemplar, that's majuscules, minuscules, and figures in the Engrosso Script case. They then received a blank Dreaming in Script certificate, and they wrote the entire body themselves, which, as some of you may know, is kind of in the heritage of the traditional penmanship schools, that all of this is paying homage to. Writing your own certificate is a testament to what you have learned. And I've been very intentional about the wording that we use on these certificates. I've spoken pretty openly about my thoughts and feelings surrounding titles, and my intention with these certificates has never been to exclude anyone or to make anyone feel like they weren't enough without a certificate. The certificates themselves are a testament to the student's ability. So they stand for what they look like. And that's one of the core things that I really focus on in Dreaming in Script, is developing a student's ability to see what they want to pursue, to see what they like, to see what they don't like, to talk about all of that freely without ego. And so, yeah, these certificates are what they are, but I'm so excited to get started. So let's go ahead, and we're going to begin with the French Roundhand Certificate of Merit graduates from 2021. There's only, these graduates are only from 2021 because the French Roundhand program began last year. All right. So the first graduate we have from the 2021 French Roundhand program is Antonin Frederico Koval. Woo! 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 Let's give him another round of applause. Great job, Antonin. So proud of you. The second graduate that we have, oh, this one needs a little bit of extra help being flat. Did I mention that these come from all over the world in little tubes? And some of them are worse for wear than the others, but they all have got that quintessential spirit that we love at Dreaming in Script. This student is from Japan, and her name is Atsuko, and I practice this, Atsuko Sogemura. Great job, Atsuko. Next, we have Beatrice Vicente. Woo! 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 Yay! Great job, Beatrice. You might notice that these certificates, I'll talk about it here for the moment. These certificates have all different kind of layouts. The students are responsible for figuring out how to lay out and organize the text on their certificate. I don't give a lot of instructions or directions around how I want them to lay it out. I offer a couple suggestions, but you'll see a variety, and that's one of the great things about DIS is I think we really emphasize individuality inside of the context of historical precedent. Alright, up next we have one of the trickier certificates to sign with 6 majuscule D's. We have Daniela Demiris. I love looking at them. They're upside down for me on the stream. I'm showing them to you guys across the desk, but it's so cool to see them all like this in all their glory. This glitter is going to be everywhere. I'll be picking up for weeks. Next, we have one of our veteran merit graduates who happens to be left-handed. We have Jewel Chan. Really nice centered design, nice and small, quite beautiful. Great job, Jewel. Getting these in the mail is so fun. I go to the post office and they always kind of roll their eyes when I show up and I ask if I have any new tubes. But it only takes a couple of weeks before the postmaster starts to wonder, what's in those tubes? And then I get to open one there in the lobby and show him, which is fun. All right, next we have this is a hard one for me to pronounce, but it's Kesha, like the singer, Kesha Angelica. Woo! Great job, Kesha. Okay, next we have Michelle Robnett. Great job, Michelle. Another really, it's fun seeing the different text sizes. You know, the students have the freedom to select the pen that they choose to use. So that's kind of what you're seeing here with the differences in the size of the actual body. Miho Yamada. Woohoo! It's so fun to see these. I have so many stories from the community forum, from all the conversations that are had with everyone, so it's really rewarding for me to see everyone kind of come together and complete the process like this. You end up making friends with people through shared interest in calligraphy, and it's one of the really rewarding things about being part of really the community in general, is that it is pretty easy to make friends. All right, next we have Nirmala Mathura. Really lovely. Beautiful. Okay, this one I'm going to show you with a little bit of a heavy heart. This student worked so hard to produce such a beautiful certificate, and it came all the way to the United States from Malaysia, and in the 11th hour was unfortunately smashed by a FedEx delivery truck. And so this is Nur Shuhada. And when I opened this tube and I saw how beautiful the lettering was and what had become of it, my heart just kind of climbed up into my throat, because I knew that we weren't going to be able to get a replacement certificate in time for this ceremony. But we have, I have issued Shuhada a replacement, and we are making a new one. This is just the one for the ceremony, but incredibly beautiful lettering. Up next, we have Petya Savcheva with an ornamental signature. What a beautiful certificate. And notice here that the line length, well, I just covered it with glitter. The line length here in the middle is quite long. This is a very open design, and I think it just came out so beautiful. Great job, Petya. Another veteran dreamer here. We have this one coming all the way from India. This is Ravi Bhatia. Really fantastic job. Left aligned. So this is a different approach to the certificate, but I personally really love left aligned stuff. Typically we see the centered design on something this small. I think I personally, if I was going to do it, I think I would actually do it this way. I just think it looks so neat with the way everything's distributed on the page. Great job, Ravi. Really fantastic work. I will say there's an extra layer of difficulty in regards to this process for the students from India. We're just now figuring out a little bit better how to make it happen consistently, but deliverability for the certificates has been not stellar in the past, so I'm just so excited to have so many to show this year. All right, next we have Rossella Viciato. Whoa! Another left aligned, just beautiful. All right, up next we have Susie Marcus Jones. Wahoo! Yippee! Congratulations! I'm having a great time. I don't know if you guys can't tell because you can't see my face, but I'm having a great time. Absolutely beautiful certificates across the board. Okay. And the last certificate of merit that I have to show is from, and I'm going to try this correctly, this is Zhang Ji, and we knew her as Jamie. Whoa! Whoa! Wonderful job. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, now before we move on, we have one very special graduate to honor. This student is another veteran dreamer from the Netherlands, and we had an issue where, although the certificate was shipped back to me over a month ago, we don't actually have it here in person because it was lost. So I want to call special recognition to Bernice Van Overbeek, and instead of showing you her certificate, I'm going to show you her exemplar that she submitted to apply for her certificate, and I'll make sure that when we do find the certificate, we take really good care of it. So, great job, Bernice. Woohoo! Woohoo! She might be asleep. I'm not sure if Bernice is here. Oh, she is here. Bernice, we all love you. Great. Okay. All right. I will say, real quick, the music that we've been hearing so far is a special recording. This was produced by none other than my very, very good friend Sean Angus Watson. I called Sean up and told him that we needed something really special just for Dreaming and Script, and the incredible musical genius that he is, he put this together very rapidly and very last minute for me so that we could have something worthy of the ceremony. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. Okay. Moving on, here we go. Now we're going to begin with the Certificates of Merit in Engrosser Script. We will begin with the 2018 graduates. The way that this is all coming together is that it used to be that, when Dreaming and Script first began, certificates weren't a thing. They didn't exist, for us anyway. And then over time, we slowly started to introduce the concept, and then we had a first graduation last year, which I gave quite a few people from 2018 a chance to pursue a certificate, even though the program was pretty much over at that point. And now we are into the school, and the design is changing, and some of our policies are changing. And so this is the last opportunity that students from 2018 and 2020 and 2021 had to graduate with certificates. And because of it being that last chance, we had a big rally of students from 2018, so I have quite a few certificates that I get to show now from students that are not from last year, to actually people who are taking that last stab at it, and that's really cool to me because they're working from an older program, they've been invested for several years, and here they are closing one door and hopefully opening another into the rest of their calligraphic life, and I hope they do really great things with it. So, without further ado, we'll get started. The first Certificate of Merit that we have from the 2018 program is Christina Au. Wahoo! 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 Obviously, for those of you that are watching that aren't aren't penmen and aren't calligraphers, you can now tell that we're celebrating graduates from a different program, and thus the writing style is different. And Grocer script is very near and dear to my heart and to Joe, who spoke earlier. It is a very difficult, sometimes unforgiving, but constantly rewarding hand that stresses a unique sensitivity of what's happening with the pen. And I think by nature of that, it's one of the calligraphic scripts that most shows the emotional state of the writer during the performance of writing. I want to call attention to another small detail of this process. The students that were showing their work tonight, this was their only chance to do it. They only received one print. There were no, I messed up, can you send me another? So that adds an extra layer of difficulty to this process that is hard to put into words if you're not a calligrapher. I can only say I have often wondered if I was a student of this program, if I would be able to get over my perfectionism and get over my ego and produce something and share it fully well knowing that it would be put on camera like this for everyone to see. It's an incredibly admirable thing for any of the certificates we're looking at, to be able to take a blank piece of paper, have one attempt, and have it be something that you can present. So great job, Christina, and great job to all the graduates so far. Okay, ranking up there for one of the most difficult certificates to pen, probably in DIS history, we have Daniela Damaris again. It's that 6 majuscule D design, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then knowing that I'm going to put one on the page too, has to be a record for difficult letter forms on a certificate. I think many of the students or practitioners would agree that majuscule D is notoriously the most difficult letter form for many people. It is made in one continuous stroke with a synthetic shade at the baseline loop in some occasions. And because of that, you are required to place the hand in a very specific place so that you can reach all the different portions of the writing without introducing shake, which comes from extending beyond your range. So this is a marvelous testament to Daniela's skill, and I hope she's proud of herself, because I definitely am. Woohoo! Woohoo! All right, up next we have Florlyn San Jose. Again, we have another left-aligned certificate here. Totally awesome, right up my alley. Just such a nice detail. I think often goes overlooked in the calligraphy world. A lot of times we center everything, but there's always a spot, in my heart anyway, for a left-aligned anything. Awesome job, Florlyn. Okay, up next, we have all the way from Europe. We have Karen Joy Salvador. Wonderful job, Karen. Karen is one of our scholarship students from 2018 who has, as you can see, quite an impressive hand. And Karen has been a near and dear friend to me over the years. I've really enjoyed watching her develop as a penman and kind of settle on some forms that really have just exemplified her ability to study, which in the case of coming from 2018, The programs are a lot different now. I think they're more robust. In 2018, these students were definitely tasked with having good study habits to be able to get to the level that Karen has got to. So, wonderful job, Karen. All right, up next we have Maureen Vickery. Woo, yippee, yippee. Beautiful certificate. Looking at these is so impressive to me to know that these are students from 2018. When I originally said, hey, you guys have one more chance to get in and do this, at that point I was focused on other classes. I was focused on the current class of Dreamers, and so these students rallied together, and many of them were posting in the community forum and trying to find a little bit of camaraderie in a class that had largely moved on. So it's really neat to see this group of people kind of finishing out this chapter. Great job, Maureen. All right, next we have Sona Ajmira. I will say, I'll do my best to get all the glitter off of these before I send them to y'all, but I make no promises. I'm going to be picking glitter off my floor for weeks. Wonderful job, Sona. Next, we have Sunny Kim. What a beautiful design. Sunny worked really, really hard in the community forum, posting quite frequently with very little interaction from the silence, that was the forum at that point. And I was just so inspired seeing the relentless perseverance in the face of that, I don't call it loneliness, which is something that I hope to combat by coming up with things for Dreamers to do together outside of the school, outside of the programs, afterwards, whether that's a special alumni thing or maybe a get-together, we could do a reunion or something. But I think many penmen would agree that there is a certain loneliness to pursuing this type of writing to the degree that we pursue it. It happens in the hours and the moments when you can find yourself tucked away and investigating the smallest geometric principles, or chasing down the tiniest historic tidbit. And you don't always have friends around, so having the ability to sustain yourself in times where there is a famine of companionship is an inspiring thing to me, and I think that all penmen could learn from Sunny's example. Great job, Sunny. All right, and last but not least, from the 2018 Engrosso Script program, we have Tina Benavides. Great job, Tina. What a beautiful certificate. Okay, so those are the 2018 graduates. Now we're going into 2020. So you've already seen one certificate from this Dreamer, but from 2020 we have Petya Savcheva again with an Engrosso Script certificate. Another ornamental signature, which is pretty cool to see. This is one of two from this class, so this is a smaller section, and that just goes to show that this was very important to Petya to have completed. So thank you so much for all your hard work. Right, and second, we have Yuko Nishida. Wahoo! 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 One of the things that I think is really cool about this process is the wording of these certificates, and I'll read it to you here in a moment, because I got a note that maybe the focus on this isn't the greatest. For that, I apologize. I'm trying to make sure that the stream is stable, and so showing these in high resolution wasn't really an option. But I'll read you the certificate. It reads: "This certifies that a worthy student, having completed all required sections of the Engrosser's Script curriculum, is entitled to the Certificate of Merit executed by themselves." And I want to reiterate the importance of that wording. I have always felt like the testaments to our skill should be found on the paper and not necessarily sustained by our reputation. And what do I mean by that? It's very easy I'm not going to go on a rant about this. It's very easy in today's world to find people who are authorities on things, right? To find people who are popular or famous or have a big following or wrote a book or whatever. But one of the things that we've stressed in DIS is that putting your work down on paper is one of the most admirable things that you can do. And it's one of the greatest ways to display not only your skill, but your knowledge. You know, we have those penmanship, we have those two sides of the coin. We have skill, and we have knowledge, or we have the hand and we have the eye. It's very interlinked. And I think that a certificate like this is a beautiful thing, because when you see this on the wall, you can look at the letter forms and you can say, this is an example of Yuko's skill. And you know, if you know the context of it, there was only one shot, it was done after however long, and you know, those kind of details can help, but there's I'm not saying anything about what I think about it. This is an example. It's beautiful. That's such a cool thing. Great job, Yuko. Okay, now we're in the good stuff. So the last group we have, these are the Engrosser's Script graduates from last year. This is the class of 2021, and I'm really excited to show these certificates for a number of reasons. You know, it's the most recent class, so I have the most recent memories of having worked with them, besides the current class, who hopefully some of you guys are watching right now and you're thinking, hey, you know, next July I want to have a certificate of merit. I want to be represented in this ceremony, and to that I say, go for it. But and I believe in you. You can do it. But this group was particularly near and dear to my heart. I had a really wonderful time teaching this course, and I really did. I think I've said in a couple places that I felt like this was the year that I really started to kind of come into my own with Engrosser's Script. You know, teaching a course about anything is difficult. Teaching a course about something that very few people do can be really easy if you don't take it really seriously, or you don't want to do right by it. But I have this deep-seated respect for Engrosser's Script and for the penmen who came before, and I felt an obligation to do a really thorough job. I won't say good, because I'll leave that up to the students to say, but a very thorough job representing the script. And then beyond that, I think it's the responsibility of any teacher to go a step further and to invest something of themselves into the program. And so this was the year that I started to codify Grimes' method in Engrosser's Script, and the first time I had the professional confidence to start to say that was actually a thing, that there was something different about my Engrosser's Script method, the way that I form the letters, the way that I think about the script. And these students took this and they just ran with it. They did such a great job, and it was, you'll see it in the certificates in a moment. I wish that there was a way to show you the conversations that we had amidst classmates in the community forum, which is our kind of platform where we can discuss coursework. The ability to get into the very small details of script was something that I had been searching for my entire calligraphic career, and then having it with students who were all like right in the throes of like the deepest part of their passion, pursuing this new thing. It was just so inspiring to me, and it totally reinvigorated my spirit for the art form. So a sincere thank you to the class of 2021 for what you did for me as a penman. I think 20 years from now I will remember all of the things that I learned from you guys. So that's what I have to say about that. All right. Our first graduate from the class of 2021 is Albert Cho. Great job, Albert. Really fantastic work. Our second graduate, and you may have recognized, this name. We mentioned it earlier. We have Antonin Federico Koval. A dual graduate in both French Roundhand and in Grosse Script. Antonin has been a very hardworking and enthusiastic dreamer. She spearheaded an exchange on the community forum, and I've just had some really pleasant email exchanges with her. I have loved every interaction that I've had with her. I couldn't recommend her enough as someone to reach out to if you felt like you wanted to talk script. I just have a feeling that she's that kind of person that would be happy to chat with you, and not that any of the people we're representing tonight wouldn't be that kind of person, but I have a strong feeling that Antonin is always down. Antonin. Excuse me. Great job, Anthony. Okay, we have a second dual graduate, Atsuko Sugimura. Coming all the way from Japan. I will say, so the programs are in English. I speak English in Grosse Script. American in Grosse Script is primarily an English discipline in the context of what's available historically. But occasionally we have dreamers who don't speak English that take the course and they use Google Translate. And it's always so inspiring to me to see them go all the way through to completion, knowing the extra layer of difficulty that gets involved with that. And in some cases, watching their English develop along the way. So this is a really cool one for me to see. Tsuko, I'm so proud of you, and I'm really glad that you made it to this point. Great job. Here we have one that I'm definitely going to mispronounce, but I'm going to try my darndest. We have Casper van der Rijst. And you might notice that the signature line down here is quite a bit longer than the others. On Casper's side, we actually had to extend the line on the print to be able to fit his whole name. So that's some dedication. Quite a few majuscules as well. Great job, Casper. Beautiful certificate. Up next, we have Cheryl Gebhardt. I always enjoy getting emails from people after the fact, and Cheryl's been one who's popped up in my email a couple times with just really sweet things to say. I think that's one of the things that I've experienced, that I've had the privilege of experiencing as an instructor, is that people who seem to be drawn to this program, seem to be drawn to me as an instructor, have been overwhelmingly pleasant, and I want to offer a hand reaching out to any of the people that we're honoring tonight. You guys can always reach out to me, no matter how long it elapses after your program ends. I'm always here, and I'll always be your friend and an enthusiastic champion of your writing. So, great job, Cheryl. Next, we have Florence McGuire. This is such a beautiful example of the left-aligned design. Boom, 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 and look at this, the right side rag. Look how close these first two lines were able to get to being the exact same length. That is fantastic engrossing work. The lateral spacing inside of words is controlled by several things, but to be able to maintain it across a spread of this size, that's some serious skill. So great job, Florence. I'm very proud of you. Okay, up next we have Griffin Okamoto. I lost my... Woo! Wahoo, wahoo. Man. Script, so I'm showing it to you guys right side up. I'm looking at it upside down. Script always looks so good upside down, but you can see a lot of the things that you can't necessarily see when it's right side up. And looking over these, I'm just amazed at the amount of skill that everyone was able to acquire throughout the throughout the program. I definitely will not take full credit for any of it. I think all of this is coming from a ton of different places, but it is really fun to me to see a bunch of engrosser script enthusiasts writing high quality script all in one place. That just doesn't happen. So this is really, really neat. Great job, Griffin. Up next, we have Harmeet Kaur. Beautiful design with quite a bit of interlinear space that makes it nice and airy, breathes well. Just really, really great work. That's one of the things you guys can probably see, even though it's not high fidelity. The camera isn't high resolution, is that the fidelity of the writing is not something you can necessarily see, but you can see the distribution of the writing, generally the slant. And the details are, I guess, between me and the creator until you go to their house and see it, because they'll have it hanging on their wall or in a drawer, and hopefully they'll show it to you. Great job, Harmeet. Up next, we have Kate Lee. This is a really great example of a center design that is kind of balanced by the way all of the components come together. It's really neat to have this almost pyramid-shaped text block underneath the heading. You know, our last line can only be so long, but you're feeling a little bit of the lightness of weight there by that my signature has an extra line. creates this really cohesive design that you should be able to walk away with feeling quite balanced. So great job, Kate. Okay. 1 second. I gotta move my little sheet over. Right. Up next we have Leslie Kefauver. Another great example of that left align design. I think the engrosser script kind of lends itself to the left line. One of the things that you might notice about this one that maybe you can see from all the way back there is that the heft, that is the thickness of the shades. So letters are constructed of generally 2 strokes, shades and hairlines, shades being the heavy dark strokes and hairlines being the light non-dark strokes, the upstrokes typically. And the even distribution of heft across a piece of writing means that while Leslie was creating this, she was able to maintain the amount of pressure that her hand was putting into the pen. And that's something that, take notice of that, of all of the certificates you're looking at. They're quite impressive, especially considering one of the things that tends to result in overshading or a heavy hand is nervousness. And ask yourself, if you only had 1 shot to do this, and you knew that a replacement certificate either didn't exist or was a world away, would you be nervous? And I can only say for myself that the answer is a resounding yes. So it's an incredible testament to skill to see something this uniform in color. Great job, Leslie. Up next we have Margaret Wong. M is another candidate for a very difficult majuscule that a lot of people have difficulty with, and M followed by a W is equally complicated because the letter forms share quite a few similarities, and there is going to be natural comparison that occurs between those 2 letter forms. So Margaret did a fantastic job designing a certificate that emphasizes the similarities without calling attention to the differences. I think that's one of the things that's really impressive about all of these certificates is that there's so much that you can find simply by spending time with them. And luckily I've been privileged to spend, in some cases, a couple months with these, sitting here in my studio waiting for this ceremony. But it's always fun to look at other people's writing, and one of the things I like to encourage people to do is to put yourself in the shoes of the writer, put yourself literally like where they sat, and ask, what were they thinking when this happened? And to ask questions about the performance of the writing rather than just the product. It lets you get to know the penman a little bit more, and it tends to yield some really interesting insights. So, great job, Margaret. Another dual graduate, we have Michelle Robnett. Wahoo! Yippee! Wahoo! Michelle has been a fun student to have. She's always got quite a bit to say, and has always, I really appreciate this about her. She's always felt comfortable reaching out to me, either through the community forum or through email, to ask questions. And that's one of the things, this is something that I think is really important about DIS and learning calligraphy in general, is that having the ability to speak to your instructor candidly, to tell them what you think that they're doing right, to tell them what you think they're doing wrong, to know that that relationship comes with a presumption of goodwill, and that a good instructor is going to see the best in every question you ask. And I have really tried to do that with everyone. And with Michelle, I have always appreciated how much she has trusted me in talking to me about either things about the program or things about the script, things about the way that I administer the program. It's just been fun to have a student that I could truly tell was not afraid of me in any way. So great job, Michelle. I really enjoyed having you as a student. Okay, next we have Miho Yamada. Miho is another dual graduate receiving a certificate in French Roundhand. This is something, we're talking about this whole process, and I've explained it to you. You kind of have a perspective on how it works. But to receive 2 of these blank prints and to have to do this whole process twice is quite literally double the work. And then there's something else about that. It's the maintenance of skill from the time that a course typically ends to the time that you receive the certificate means the students are investing in their practice. They're investing in their work in those months, typically in between when the course ends and the time that I issue the blank certificates. And to maintain 2 script styles during that time is an impressive feat. So really, really great job, Miho. All right, I'm going to take a moment with this last name because I did practice it. Okay, next we have Panipak Kovith-Vathanafong, and I'm hoping that is correct. This is a beautiful design. You might notice that this is quite a bit smaller than the rest of the certificates that we've been looking at. Oh, before I go forward. Whoa! Great job, Panipak. It's quite a bit smaller, and there is in engrossed script specifically, and kind of in the penmanship world, there is this idea that writing smaller is harder. And in some cases that's true, and in some cases it's not. I will say one of the difficult things about writing engrossed script at a small size is that the shorter the letters are, the less time you have to react to things going wrong. So you're pulling your hand along a stroke, and you start to realize, oh, I'm going off track. This isn't where I want the pen to go. On a big letter, you can sometimes lighten the heft and then get it back on track and then go back and retouch. On a small letter, every little motion of the hand is translated into a bigger part, respectively, of the letter form. And so to write a really small certificate like this is a testament to itself. But really, really great job. Next, we have Razzle Shane Snars. Schnars, not Snars. Razzle's work is very impressive. I've really enjoyed getting to watch it develop over the last couple of years. It's something that I will admit to at times having been intimidated by. Watching the posts that came into the community forum and asking if I had had a teacher that had presented me with the same things that I was presenting Razzle with, if I would have been able to do this type of work at that discipline, or at that length into my discipline. Razzle had quite a bit of roundhand experience coming into the course, because when I received this, I went and looked at that. We do a before and after from the course. But I will say the improvements that were made are very evident to me, and they are typically in the hard to improve areas. I won't take credit really for anything on any of these certificates particularly, but I can see the places that there are small technical geometric improvements and changes that have resulted in a really confident hand. And it's been so impressive to me to see it develop, and now it's impressive to me to think that it'll be out there and hopefully be producing more work for all of you. So, great job, Razzle. timbre. Another great example of a left alignment that leaves room for the off-balance signatures. Absolutely fantastic. I wish that I had a way to present all of these in a super high resolution so that you guys could all marvel at the details. They are really impressive. It's been very humbling to have so much high-level engrosser script from contemporary penmen in the studio with me, whilst I am trying to simultaneously improve my engrosser script. I would say that we were talking about something the other day, and I was saying friendly competition breeds excellence. And I do think that's true. Finding people that are interested in the same thing that you're interested in, and they're doing it to a really high level, and you can kind of push and pull with each other and talk talk shop and get into that experience of it and really share your practice with someone. That's very unique, and I feel very privileged to have got to experience that with students like Shweta. Great job. Okay, and our last engrosser script 2021 Merit alumni is Zhang Ji. Again, Jamie Zhang. Again, very impressive heft across the board. Just such a stellar execution. One of the things that I know I've mentioned so far, but the concept of the performance. Think about that for a second. So much of calligraphy is focused on the product. We're all focused on the product, and I think a lot of people say, process over product, but process implies something kind of iterative, doesn't it? It's this idea that we have been laboring over it and it all comes together into a product. Performance. That block right there represents a moment in Jamie's life. And that moment is forever recorded here on the paper. And I got to see it, and she got to see it, and everyone that shows this paper to will get to see it. But it was a moment, and that's one of the things I've really tried to hit home. And that when I issue the certificates out to the graduates, I send a letter and I say, this isn't, one, it's not going to be the best script that you've ever written. Two, it's not going to be the best script you will ever write. It is only a moment, and we're going to do it together and then release it and move forward. And it's really wonderful to see that represented here so purely. Great job, Jamie. Okay, we have a couple more to show, and these are not graduates from this year, but as I mentioned, there are occasionally hiccups with the mail, and things get lost and are misplaced, and we don't always necessarily get them back in time for the ceremony or even for the year to wrap up. But I have 3 more people to honor. These are graduates from last year who have now completed their replacement certificates, and I have them to show. So we'll begin with the one that has the best story. So this is Kesha Angelica. And this is a 2020 engrosser script Merit alumni. The story here is that this certificate is a replacement of one that was stolen by a porch pirate. And I got a text message a couple weeks after it was supposed to be delivered saying that this gentleman had found a piece of my mail and had taken it with him, but he wanted to get it back to me. And so we were setting up a time to get it, and I asked him where he found it, and he said, I found it off in this weird part of Portland that I had never been to. And it became very clear that he was trying to ransom the original certificate back to me in exchange for some money. To which I would normally say I don't negotiate with terrorists, but in this case, it wasn't my certificate, and I was actually willing to meet him and to pay him for this certificate. But in the negotiating the opportunity to meet with this gentleman, I spooked him, and he told me that he didn't have it anymore, and I had to reach out to Kesha and say, okay, it looks like we're going to make a replacement, and so here it is. Really great work. I'm so glad we were able to get it done. Okay. Next, we have gentleman Ravi Bhatia. The story with this one was that it was never delivered, but we persevered, and over the course of the time between then and now, we were able to get it done. Some of you have probably seen Ravi's writing in the community forum or around online. He's a wonderful penman, and I'm so honored to have had him as a student. Great job, Ravi. Okay, and last but not least, certainly not least, I actually don't have this one here because this one went to a very special friend of ours who does not live in the United States. And we had some issues getting the certificate delivered in time, but when it came back to me, they were receiving a certificate of completion, and so I sent the certificate of merit along with the certificate of completion. So, this is Yoli Rincon. Wahoo! Wahoo! Yoli has been an incredibly valuable asset to the DIS community. She's one of our scholarship students, and I have just had such a privilege getting to know her and kind of keep up with her over the years. It's been so inspiring in typical Yoli fashion to watch her interact with people and just give and give and give of her experience without ever having reservations about what she didn't know or whether someone knew more than her or something like that. She was always willing to talk shop and to try her best to help, and that's something that has meant the world to me. I know it has meant a lot to other dreamers, and I hope that she'll stick around and continue to hang out with us, even though we're wrapping up this little part of the story. Great job, Yoli. Okay, if you guys just give me 1 second, I'm going to move us back over to where I can talk to you for a minute, and that is the conclusion of the certificate demonstration portion. So hang tight, and I will be right back. Happy graduation, everybody. Kitty says hello, and she is very, very proud of you all, and she forgives you for taking all of my attention away from her, even though she would have loved to have had it focused squarely on herself. And she has a little ribbon to celebrate the occasion. Okay. So, obviously, in moments like this, there is a sense of conclusion, and I think it would be easy to think of this as a step that these people are moving beyond and they have accomplished something, and that entitles them to still their pursuit of progress. One of the things that I hope that I've left as an impression in these students is that learning with EngrosserScript and with French Roundhand, with any type of penmanship or calligraphy you're pursuing, never ceases. There is always something to improve, and there's always something to explore. And I think a lot of times we get caught up in what I call the P word, perfection. We get caught up in wanting our script to be something, wanting it to represent an ideal that we have in our head, but we can't necessarily get out on paper. And I just think it's so important to remember that what makes this beautiful is the fact that it's hard, and that you did it to the degree that you did it to. Not that you did it to some unfathomably perfect degree, but that you did it by hand, and you did it to the degree that you were able at the moment that you did it. And I just hope that that is something that all of the graduates tonight, and anyone who is pursuing penmanship outside of Dreaming in Script, can really take to heart. I would love to see that sentiment being echoed more in the community. Let's do away with perfectionism. Let's do away with idolatry, and let's focus on getting better, because we are in this moment uniquely poised to push penmanship and calligraphy, specifically the historic and traditional styles, further than they have ever been pushed. We have literally every luxury at our expense. We have access to the historical information. We have access to modern tools. We have, in some cases, a luxury of time. And I would be so honored to be a part of a group of people that 100 years from now, students of the future looked back and said, man, they did some really great work in the early 2000s. And I just think let's leave it at that. Let's say this is our history. We are literally building it now. And I want everyone to go forward and do the best you can with what you learned through me. Study with other people, ask questions, never allow yourself to feel complacent, and I believe that you will accomplish everything you set out to do. Okay, I do want to say thank you to a couple people. Specifically, I want to say thank you to my student mentors, Gretchen and Steven, who have helped me over the years. Student mentors are essentially people that I pull in from graduating classes to help with future classes. They answer questions and kind of keep people on a roll. They do a lot of emotional management of students, helping students to understand that, oh yeah, I've been there too. Oh, I understand it's frustrating. This is what I did. They spark conversations. They kind of help take care of the tribe, and I have always appreciated that. Stephen and Gretchen, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really has meant so much to me. I also want to say thank you to several of my penmanship friends, Nina Tran, Andrew from England, and Gray Harris are three that come to mind as having been a deep source of inspiration and encouragement for me to continue to offer Dreaming Script over the years, even when I felt like it was becoming complicated or difficult to administrate, or had a crisis of self-esteem or whatever. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And I want to say thank you to Dr. Joe for being our guest speaker tonight and for being a mentor and a friend all these years. Thank you for the generosity that you showed me in my early days as a penman, and I really hope that we continue to maintain this friendship for years and years to come. And last but not least, I want to say thank you to my girlfriend Evelyn, who has put up with me for the last 4 or 5 years pursuing Dreaming in Script. I know that it hasn't been easy, and I have worked many late nights to produce not just this live stream, but the course content, and that has made me unavailable in some cases, and I have always appreciated having you as a champion of what I'm trying to do, this school that I'm trying to build, and following my dreams. With that, I will let you guys move over to the next thing. You're going to see a closing screen with a call to action. And if you were watching this stream and you thought, wow, that was really cool, I would love to do something like that someday. I would love to have you join us in the Dreaming in Script community. We have a course starting on August 15th for French Roundhand. It's the only one for the year. You can sign up on the website. And we have a self-study course, which is not a certificate course. in Offhand Flourishing that will be coming out this August as well. So there is a link on the website where you can learn more about that and sign up for the wait list. And thank you so much for spending time with us this evening and for helping me to make this special for the graduates. I'm sorry for any mispronunciations, and I'm sorry for anything I messed up regarding the stream, but I hope that it was special to you guys, and I really appreciate what Dreaming in Script has allowed me to do with my life. And I have really just been so honored getting to know you all. Okay, I will see you guys next time.